Hello and welcome to Year 10's subject selection event done differently for 2022. I'm aiming to, in this film, present some of the information that I would have presented on stage in an in-person event. I'm hoping that by the end of this film you'll be able to have a slightly deeper understanding of the types of courses, the requirements of the HSC in terms of NESA, and also know who you can go to seek any questions or advice in this selection process. It is complicated, so let's get started. First and foremost, I want you to think about, students, the why behind the subject selection course. Why would you choose to do a subject? I also want you to think about what's required in each of those subjects and the fact that you'll also need to consider that you'll have to do the courses for 2 years and also achieve your minimum standards tests and all your own work. In addition to that, I want you to think about the types of courses and units that you need to achieve, the different types of courses I've spoken about, and also whether you are interested in pursuing an ATAR or not. Finally, it's really about finding out who you can talk to about these subjects and also what are the deadlines involved. When do you need to get this subject selection process completed? So NESA's provided some information. They would like for you to consider, students, what are your abilities? What are your interests and motivations? How do you best like to learn? Do you like and enjoy handwriting and discussing content, or do you prefer to get physically involved by doing things or creating works? Please consider that as part of the selection process. You obviously should consider your careers aspirations and if there's any needs or requirements from universities or TAFE. You also need to consider the types of requirements that you'll be asked to achieve. Are there practical works that you need to do? Do you need to do something that is beyond just a written exam? And if that's the case, you need to take that into consideration. Finally, just what are the subject combinations that you need to do? And also, please consider if you have other commitments, what that might mean for your pattern of study. I've included this slide here, students, so you can see that you can go to NESA and get more information about choosing subjects online as well. And if you want to dig more deeply than that, you can look at the website and have a look at the types of exam questions or assessment tasks or past papers. Have a look at the type of content you'll be exploring as you study these courses. So before we move on, let's consider the record of school achievement, or the ROSA. Now this begins once you have completed Year 10, you will be eligible for a ROSA. That continues into Year 11, but is superseded by the HSC if you choose to continue to achieve the HSC. If you leave at some point at the end of Year 10 or in Year 11, you are eligible to access the ROSA. If, however, you're moving to the HSC, let's consider that what's required. You can see from this slide that it actually presents a profile of your achievement over those 2 years, your final school career. You'll note that courses all have a unit value and that most courses are in fact 2 units. You'll also note that there are some courses that are 1 unit value. They are usually the extension courses. So in Year 11, NESA mandates that you have to study 12 units or 6 subjects, and you must complete all 12 units satisfactorily in order to continue on to Year 12. In Year 12, you have a minimum of 10 units. Please note though, many students choose to continue to study 12 units in Year 12. You must do 2 units of English. There are many levels in English, so you get some good advice from Mrs. Montakis and your English teacher as to what level would best suit your needs. You also must complete at least 6 units of board-developed courses, 3 courses of 2 units of value, at least 4 subjects, and there's a maximum of 6 units of science. So it is a complicated process. That's why we'll be meeting with each of the Year 10 students to consider whether they will be eligible to achieve an HSC on the just in selecting the right courses. This slide is about the minimum standards. It's asking our students to consider the fact that they have to sit 3 exams they can do it multiple times, beginning in Year 10. To be eligible to achieve an HSC, you have to achieve a minimum standard in literacy and numeracy. Many of our students have already achieved the standard in reading. Most students have achieved in numeracy, and there's just a few left to achieve the standard already in writing. So we are well on our way to achieve minimum standards for all of our students, and we'll continue to work with you guys in Year 10 to make sure that you are eligible to achieve your HSC. These tests are really important. You may know that these are the tests that Mrs. Morton and Mr. Mitchell have been working with you on recently. So this slide indicates the type of courses that are available. There are the board-developed courses, which are the usual courses that are available: English, Maths, Science, Visual Arts, Society and Culture, Legal Studies, those types of courses. There are also board-endorsed courses. Please, when you're looking through your subject selection booklet, take note of the type of courses. There are also Category A and Category B courses. You need to note which courses are available, and there is a page at the beginning of your subject selection booklet that is a table. I would request that each student actually begins to list the courses they're thinking about studying and note whether they're Category A or Category B, and use the checklist at the bottom of that page. It's around page 9 or 10. Use that as a checklist and a guide to see that you're going to be eligible to achieve your HSC. This slide is indicating that all students must complete the work that is required to achieve your HSC, and you can also choose to do a VET subject, but if you are doing a VET subject, you must complete the work placement in order to achieve those 2 units. This slide's very self-explanatory, but it does call out that it's really important students understand that all work completed under an examination situation must be a serious attempt. Finally, when you're completing students, when you are given your confirmation of entry forms, you need to take those seriously. You need to consider all the subjects that you have achieved, and make sure that it's the right subject with the right code. So All My Own Work is a course that you will be completing Year 10 at the end of Year 10. It's important that every student understands and completes that process. It is a course that really explores the things listed on this slide, including the concepts of plagiarism and copyright. Next, this slide is talking about vocational education and training courses and the types of courses that are available. At Woolooware High School, we do have hospitality as a VET course available for our students. Some of those other courses are available at local TAFEs. If you're interested in that, you need to speak to Ms. Desritz. This slide is indicating that there is a difference in the type of learning that is achieved. You can see there's a range of competencies, quite blurry, but there are a range of competencies that have been achieved. So that's for a VET course. For the HSC itself, you will see that you will get a series of subjects. You will also get a series of examination marks, assessment marks, and also indicate which performance band the child or the student achieves. And that's what a ROSA would look like as well. There are also different types of HSCs that can be achieved. For some students, we would talk to them about the possibility of achieving a life skills HSC. So how do these results get put together? You can see that this is calling out that the internal assessment makes up 50% of the mark, and then the HSC begins around October, November, that makes up the other 50% of the mark. So you can see that what actually happens is the work at school is as equally important as the written final exams. There's a film link here that is actually really good. It does make a clear understanding of the process of moderation of marks. Take the time to have a look at that, students. So the next slides are talking around the concept of the ATAR, or the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank. So this is not a mark, this is a rank, placing this student in a number out of 100. It provides information on how the student performed in relation to the other students across New South Wales. It's calculated by UAC themselves, and that is something that is important for students entering into university. Let's consider other considerations. What do you want to do for your future? What pathway best suits you? What would you be interested in achieving? And if you're interested in any of those subjects, who should you talk to? There's a whole range of students. There's a whole range of people that you can speak to. You can speak to teachers. You might even speak to students who are currently studying those courses. You could check in with your year advisor. Please check in with Ms. Deseritz, your careers advisor, or your deputy principal, Mr. Mitchell, as well. So let's have a look at some of the features. I will skim through this quickly just so you can see what this PowerPoint holds. A whole lot of information around English, the subjects you can choose in creative arts, in HISI, in languages, in maths. And please note that English is the only mandatory subject. All the other subjects are up to you. So what would I like you to do now? Please make sure you read the subject selection booklet carefully. Use the table that's on page 9 or 10 to really consolidate your thinking about the subjects you are interested in doing. Review the information on all the presentations in the courses that you're interested in. Make sure you have a deep understanding about what it is that subject is involved in learning in that subject and what you need to do to demonstrate that learning in that subject. Please consider the practical component elements of some of those subjects as well. You need to speak to staff and seek advice whether they think that you're suited for that course. In addition to that, please make sure you log on to Edval using this personalised code by the Friday the 12th of August. Make sure you do that so we can see what subjects you're choosing, and then we will have a look at consolidating all of that information in our interview process. Can you also please make sure once you've completed the subject selection online that you print your choice page, the final page in Edval, get it signed by your family or carer, and bring that into Mr. Mitchell's office, please. So please take the time to have a look at all the resources in your Google Classroom, and remember, if you have any questions at all, please speak to us. Thank you so much.